All right, let's talk more about all of this. Here to talk about it, Page Pate. He is a criminal defense and constitutional attorney. Page, good to see you. Wow, I mean, this is extraordinary, is it not? I mean, what kind of potential legal charges could these fake electors actually face?
Well, Fred, we've heard a lot of discussion about potential legal exposure, not just for the electors, but for the people that were involved in getting these electors selected, chosen, and eventually sending this slate up to the vice president, up to the National Archives. We're looking at potential false statement charges, potential obstruction charges, and potential seditious conspiracy charges. A lot of it will depend on the evidence that's being developed right now. Subpoenas have gone out, search warrants have been issued. So once the Justice Department gathers all that, they'll sort through it, see if there's sufficient evidence to prove one of those charges.
Do you see that it's possible that the former President Trump could face charges for his role in this false electors plot?
Fred, I do think it's possible, and here's why. I mean, there was so much legal news this week that I think a lot of people may have overlooked what is probably the single most significant thing that has happened so far in the January 6th committee hearings. And that was something that was not in the committee itself, but the search warrant that was executed at the residence of Jeffrey Clark. He is a former top-level Justice Department official. To get that search warrant, a federal judge had to find that there's probable cause that a crime has been committed. This is not like a subpoena. A subpoena is when we're investigating to see if there's a crime that's been committed. When a search warrant is issued, there's probable cause there's been a crime. We're just trying to get the evidence to prove who did it. So I think the fact that they are now focusing on Jeffrey Clark and people very close to the president during these pivotal days right around January 6th suggests that this investigation is far from over.
And that raid was happening on the very day that we heard from top DOJ officials, and they helped to shed light on Trump's attempts to weaponize the Justice Department to overturn the election. What was most striking about that day of testimony to you?
Well, Fred, they didn't do it. They convinced the president not to put Clark in charge. Otherwise, there was going to be mass resignations at the Department of Justice. This was a situation where I think Trump loaded the gun but didn't pull the trigger. There's no question in my mind if he had actually put Clark in charge and Clark had sent that draft letter to state officials in Georgia and elsewhere saying, look, DOJ thinks that there was fraud in this election. We've got serious concerns. None of that was true. But if Trump put him in place where he could send that letter out, then I think that's strong evidence that there was, at that point at least, an attempt to corruptly obstruct an official proceeding. So it's very significant that these Justice Department people wouldn't go along with it, because I think that single decision kept us from being in a much worse place than we are today.
Yeah, their testimonies were very powerful earlier this week. And of course, the hearings resumed later on in June. Thank you so much, Page Pate.
Thank you.